Hi, I'm Michael Price, and I wanted to share the meeting to prototype agent I built in Guild. Building in Guild was awesome. So it's actually a coordinated three agent process. What we have first is the intake agent right here. It's the Slack-facing coordinator. It receives the transcript, acknowledges it in the thread, which I'll show you, interprets what's in the conversation, and proposes some prototype directions. Second, there's the builder um, right here, prototype option builder. That one builds it. And third is the GitHub notifier. Super easy to build. I built the majority of it with the awesome MCP that Guild has in Codex. So let's pop out of there and let's start to see how it works. Let me set up the scene here. We've all been in meetings on a product we're working on. We've had some great discussions, maybe taking some notes about how we could improve the product. And then those notes, maybe they get turned into GitHub or GitLab issues, linear issues, whatever you're using, and then kind of nothing happens. I've always thought, how cool would it be for these ideas to be automatically turned into a prototype? Because it's always so much better when you see some output of how it's going to work, or what it could be like, and it brings people along. You're all seeing the same thing. So popping over into Slack, this runs through Slack. I wanted this to work through Slack because it's a familiar interface where everyone's working. Everyone can kind of chip in um, and add their thoughts to it, and then we can send that to our Guild agents to have all this context. So I have a pre-built Zoom meeting transcript. I am a New York Knicks fan, even though I live on the West Coast. Have always been a fan. So a lot of my made-up examples will have to do with the New York Knicks. So I've created this fictitious product team that works for the New York Knicks, and they are discussing creating some analytics tools around figuring out the upcoming calendar, the upcoming schedule, and knowing based on Jalen Brunson's performance if he's going to have a big game to get them the win, or if it's a game where he can be a little bit more of a facilitator. I'm not going to bore you with this entire transcript, but I will show you it is quite thorough. We have four different people talking and taking part in it. So the key part is we tag the Guild app and we have it installed in Slack. So I'm going to send that forward. So the first thing that happens is Guild adds the magic wand to say we've got it, we're working on it, and it looks like the reply came really quickly. So let's take a look at what Guild has to say. Okay, acknowledged, working on it, reviewing the transcript, and proposing prototype directions. So now within Guild, the agents are going to work, reviewing the transcript, and whoa, already, that was so fast. I found more than one viable prototype direction. So it's come back with three options. Next game impact forecaster, a schedule dependency raker, and a win likelihood simulator. These sound awesome. So we can ask it to build one, two, or all three. So let's make it make all three. Build one, two, and three. So we send that over to Guild, and now the builder agent starts working on these. This is all going to happen in GitHub. Well, I should say the build is going to happen in Guild, but then the output is going to be in GitHub. So nice and communicative, working on it, starting three prototype builds. These are the three. Completion replies will appear in this thread as each prototype is ready. So working in the interface where you're used to working and communicating, we're not having to go between apps. Guild just integrates super cleanly. Okay, so here we go. The first prototype based on that meeting is done. It adds a link directly to the GitHub issue. So let's click into that. So it's created an issue. It's got its documentation, the direction that it was given, the files, all the code, everything you would need. But the really cool thing is I've integrated GitHub pages. So we've got a link to the actual prototype here. So the Brunson Impact Forecaster. So it's saying Boston is the next matchup. The projected band that Jalen's going to need to score based on the 10 games is if he scores between 28 and 32 points, there's a 68% chance that they're going to win. Awesome. Just being able to see this from a conversation allows us to know should we keep putting any effort into this. So let's wait. Okay, it's created another one. So the Brunson dependency ranker. Let's see, we've got the plan here. Yep, we've got the link. Sometimes these take a second to populate, but nope, this one's ready to go. So this is evaluating the Knicks' next 5 games to know where the team is most dependent on a high-scoring performance from Jalen Brunson. So peak birding coming up, Boston, of course, they just qualified for the playoffs 1 spot ahead of us, so that makes a lot of sense. Recent baseline of what Jalen scored is 29.4 points. So we need Jalen to be 30 plus more points. This was back in March that I wrote this code. So it's looking at the schedule then, and here it's identified Boston as one we need a high scoring load. Miami always plays us tough, so medium. Charlotte, though they made the play-in, still pretty low. So we know where Jalen can maybe save some energy and distribute the load. And then the win likelihood based on scoring band. So figuring out like if Jalen scores where, what the likelihood of scoring is. So again, from one meeting, we get to see something really cool. I think the third one is done here. Yep, the win likelihood simulator. So we'll skip all this, but we have all the code we need all the way to the bottom. And this one is the likelihood. So exploring how Jalen Brunson's expecting scoring behavior correlates with the Knicks' likelihood of securing the win. So if he scores between 25 and 29 points, 55% chance. Oh, this is cool. Click 30 or more, it goes up. Under 25, it drops. So Jalen's carrying a lot of load. If he's scoring under 25 points, the win likelihood in the next 5 games is going to, against Boston, sorry, is going to be pretty tough. So how cool is that? You know, we just went from a meeting to uploading the transcript to real prototypes that are coded and ready to review and determine if it's worth putting any more time into. Obviously, I used a fictitious team working for the New York Knicks, but any SaaS app, any AI infrastructure tool, anything would benefit from taking multiple human thoughts from meetings and turning them into prototypes to see if there's anything there. And yeah, building with Guild it was awesome, super easy. All of that. I made pair programming in Codex. Didn't have any issues. So I hope you like it. Give it a chance, give it a try. Make some prototypes based on your meetings.